Good evening, everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful day. As you know, my name is Gbenga Adeyemo, and today we'll talk about deployment pipeline in Microsoft Fabric, right? And it's a very important topic because when we talk about building enterprise solutions, if we find ourselves in a situation whereby we are working in a workplace that they build enterprise solutions for either other clients or organizations, or even within your own organization, as a fabric engineer, is something that you also can implement when you are working on projects. It's just a way of managing the life cycle of different fabric items that you have in your workspace. So, what is a deployment pipeline for a beginner? Now, a deployment pipeline is a structured process for moving your data or your Power BI content, right? Or let me just say, call it Power BI content. Say it's a structured process of moving your Power BI content or your Microsoft Fabric content from development to testing to production safely and efficiently, right? So think of it like you're an app developer that moves your code from a test version to the final version that everyone sees. Let's take a look at a mobile app developer. They create mobile applications for that we can use on our phones, right? Either iOS or Android. And sometimes when they you know create this application, there's always a like a stage that they get to, that they test out the application. And testing might involve them, you know, telling people to some set of people to actually install the application, and they look at the functionalities, whether it meets the requirements of what they have said from the beginning, you know. And whenever it has been tested and it looks okay, they push it out, and the whole world can see it on Play Store or Google Store or whatever store, and they can go there and install and start using the application. Now, as time goes on, there will be feedbacks, there would be improvements in the user design, in the user interface, right? And the people have started interacting with the application, and they are seeing the picture, the color, the landing page. They are seeing probably, you know, when you click on this, how fast is it responding to you? Is it slow on this page and all of those things? And based on people's feedback and all, the mobile app developer will go back again and start making changes. Now, before he pushes the changes to something that we can see, right? They will have some set of people within the organization that will test out whatever changes that they've made and compare the version they want to push out. They will compare it with the previous version, the current state and the future state of that application. And they push it out. And when the very test has been done, and they see that they can compare both the current version and the previous version, then they push it out. I think that's why most times on your mobile device, you will now see something that will prompt you and tell you to update your application and tell you that the application is due for update, right? Because of the changes that have been done at the back end, and they pushed it out for update. So that is how I believe the cycle works for mobile app developer. I'm not a mobile app developer. I'm just using the example. So let's now bring it to Microsoft Fabric. So in the Fabric workspace, you will have things like your semantic model, your notebook, your data flow Gen 2, your warehouse, your lakehouse, all of those things, they will be in your semantic model. Even your Power BI report itself, your Fabric items generally, they will be, even your dashboard, all these things will be in your, what's it called? They will be in your workspace, in Fabric workspace, right? So the deployment pipeline has three stages. It has the development stage. This is where developers, that is Power BI developers, this is where they um, create most of the content, the data set, or semantic model, the Power BI reports, uh, You see things like the lakehouse, the warehouse, the data flow gen 1 or 2, everything you can create in a Fabric environment. You see that inside of the Fabric workspace, right? So development stage is where we create the stuff. We create the different items, right? The testing stage is where some people in the organization are the ones that will test, or we can pick some specific business users. You can say, okay, we're working on a project now. You can say, okay, we want to pick 2 of the business users to come and test out, the contents that we have inside of our Fabric environment, our Fabric workspace or our Power BI workspace, right? They come there, they test it and ensure and they validate that everything is working correctly as it should, right? And we have uh, the production stage, right, which is the final version that everyone in the organization that is meant to see those items where they can. That is where the stage that we push out to the general, to everybody to, pick things from, right? So at the testing stage and at the development stage, rather, this is a stage that is not shared to everybody to, view items from it. The development stage is for developers. The testing stage is for both the developers and those that are going to be testing out the stuff, right? The items. And the production stage, as I said earlier, is for the general public. I mean, when I say general public, I don't mean like anybody. I mean, even within the organization, like this is like what anybody can see within the organization, like depending on who is supposed to have access to that, right? So majorly the business users are the one that will have access to the production stage, that is the finalized stage where the current version has been pushed out, right? So that's basically the background to what we are here for today. What we are here for today. So if you look at my screen now, how did I get here? So let me first go to my workspaces. Let me go and delete this one. I created this one, when I was testing out this feature. I want to delete this workspace. And if time permits us today, so as I said earlier, it's not compulsory that we finish this class today. There are some topics that sincerely, they take time. They take time. Taking time means that I don't mean forever, but I mean it requires one to, we can use like 2 Sundays to complete it. That's what I mean. Okay, so let me go now. So the only workspace I have here is the Medallion Architecture workspace that I used in teaching you guys the Medallion Architecture. Now, if you look at this place now, you will see different items that I have in this workspace, right? The data, I have 2 data flow gen 2. I have 1 lake house here. I have 1 event house. I have 2 pipelines, and I have 1 semantic model here, and I also have 1 warehouse, right? Yeah. Now I'm going to create the deployment pipeline. Now I'm going to create it. So for me to create that, I'll go to these 3 dots here, and we are going to see deployment pipelines. We are going to see deployment pipelines. Oh, sorry. Okay. Then you click on deployment pipelines. You click on deployment pipeline. Now you have to create a new pipeline. A new pipeline. So you click on new pipeline. Click on new pipeline, and you give your pipeline a name. So what name can we give this pipeline? We can say, we can call it the sales pipeline. Now, there's something that I need to talk about, which is the so I don't want you guys to mix. Let me just say the deep underscore pipeline. I don't want you guys to mix the pipeline in what's it called? Our data factory pipeline. I don't want to mix it up with this one. It's different. And also the CI/CD pipeline that we do with Git and Azure DevOps and the rest. I don't also want to mix it up. It's not the same. So this is different. This is just you moving your Fabric items or content in a way that it is auditable and in a way that you can test out things before you move it out for everybody to see it, right? So that is what this one is about, right? So I click on next. Now here by default, it's already giving me testing, development, and production, right? So the thing is that it all depends on me and what I'm building that will determine whether I should go ahead with 2 stages. If I can even have more stages. For example, if I click on plus here, you see that I have another stage. So I can have as many stages as possible, but the common one is usually the development, testing, and the production, right? So I don't need now, even in some organizations, even on some projects that you would do, you might end up you might end up you might end up using only you might end up using only 2 stages, development and production straight off. It all depends on what you are building, right? Some people even do the testing right in the development stage already, so they don't have a testing workspace. So that's what I said, it all depends, right? So at this stage now, I'm going to see these three by default, and I'm going to click on create and continue. I'll click on, and the next thing I'm to do after getting here is to assign a workspace to the development layer, the development stage. So I'm coming to these 3 dots. Coming, guys. We couldn't find any workspace to assign for you. Oh, okay. I'm coming. Didn't I forget how to assign workspace? Oh my. Just hold on for me, please. Um, this is the access to the workspace. Why can't I see where I'm supposed to? Just hold on for me, please. I'm coming. Where do I do this stuff for? Uh-uh. I'm coming, please. Hold on. Uh, you know what? Let me delete this pipeline and go back again. Okay. So let me ensure that my workspace is there. Yeah, my workspace is there now. Uh-huh. New pipeline, sales pipeline, right? I click on next. Okay, this one is just for the name. Yes, I've seen my 3 stages. Okay, and I click on create and continue. I follow the right step now. Okay, just hold on for me, guys. Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay, so let me go to the workspace. I think there's something that I need to do on the workspace level. So I go to workspace. I click on my workspace. And I'll go to workspace settings. My workspace needs to be. Workspace is in trial now. It's in public trial, so it's not. This thing is funny. Why is it showing my workspace instead of this workspace? Please hold on for me, guys. Okay, workspace settings. I'll change this to large semantic model, set license. Okay, let me go back to my deployment pipeline. Aha, so I see the problem now. So I can now assign workspace now. Because my workspace was in small semantic model, that was why it didn't work. So Medallion architecture, I've assigned this workspace to this one. So this workspace can be assigned, but some items would be deployed to the next stage. So these are some of the issues, right? So this item, this data flow cannot be deployed, but I will still explain that part later. So I click on continue. So you see that on that particular workspace now, it's showing all the items that are in that workspace is what I'm seeing here. Right? It's not allowing me to select. Okay, so it's not supporting data flow. Data flow. It's not supporting it. It's not even allowing me pick anything. Why not? Coming. It's not even allowing me pick anything. Okay, let's hold on for me, guys. Switch up this. This thing is very funny. It's not allowing me to pick anything. Okay. I even want to deploy to test. It's not allowing me. Let me refresh. Let me refresh this page. Uh, I'm coming, please. Let me see why. Mm, mhm. Okay, let me go here. So that's not a problem. So I need to. Okay. So let me make a change. Let me make some changes. Let me go open this semantic model, for example. Let me make some changes in this semantic model. Okay. Let me edit it. So let me say store ID, store ID. Save. Okay. Let me go back to my deployment pipeline. I don't know why this is happening. It's not allowing me to do any select any item. Let me go back here to my workspace. What's the problem of this thing? Workspace settings. Just wondering what will be causing this problem. Okay. So let me go back to the pipeline. Come on, please. Let me see if I can fix it. Oh, sorry. I know we have made mistake now. So I'm supposed to click on this test stage and deploy stuff from this development to this. So these are the only ones that the deployment is supporting. So I click on deploy, right? So you say continue deployment in case one or more items fail. You still continue deploying, right? So it will deploy now to the testing stage. So it will create a new, automatically create a new workspace for you, right? It will create a new workspace for you. And same thing applies to production too. So when this one is done deploying, so you see all the items in, development. And you see that by the time you get to testing, in fact, it's already telling you that it's not all of the items that are supported. So Dataflow Gen 2s are not supported, right? But the other ones that supported, they will move to the testing stage. You're still deploying them to testing. And when testing is done, you click on production and you also deploy to production that way. Now, we are not going to make some changes. We are going to make some changes to some of the supported items. When we are done with that, we'll move it to what's it called? We'll move it to testing and move it to production. Now, another thing I wanted to even show us is that if we are connecting, if our workspace from the original workspace that we had, if it is connected to Azure DevOps for version control to see changes that we are making, right? Now, the thing there is that we would check and see whether our Git status, right, is also moving with this deployment to these different stages. We will test that out if time permits for this night, or we continue on Sunday next week if the time does not permit us. So let's see. Okay, it has already deployed all these items. Don't know why it's taking this time, but let's wait for it. Okay, I think it's almost done. Okay, good. Okay, it's almost done. It has even been successful deployments. So we can now come to production now too, and select all these items, and we can also deploy. Now, there's another thing that we can also do. We can apply parameters to data source in such a way that by the time it gets to testing, the data sources can all, can all link to the testing database or something like that, right? And even in production too, our data sources for some items can be different, right? Okay, we can also do that. So it's still going to production. Let me just wait for it to move to production. Is it, let me know if you guys are still here with me. Let's just wait for it. Okay, thank you. So it's taking time. I don't know why it is slow. Okay, good. The production one too is almost done. Yes, so now we see that we've been able to move items from development to test to production. Now they're seeing something now. It's telling us something here. It says item not the same as source, right? Items not the same as source. So is that between production and let's click on, okay, we're on production, right? Let's click on tests. You see that it's telling us that our KQL database, that the one on the test layer is different from the one coming from the development layer, right? So this is what I'm going to do. So they are going to come back here now. They are going to come back here to this part here, and we are going to deploy from development again. Well, I don't know why it's saying that anyway, because it's not even giving us the chance to deploy from development, but it's telling us that KQL database is different. Okay, so what this will do is that this has already created 3 workspaces now. Internet architecture, the original one, There's one that has tests at the end of it, one has production. Now let's go. Now let me go back to development. Let me go back to development. So let's say, let me go back to my data model. It's the easiest place to make changes. Let me go to open my schematic model again, and let me do something funny. Let me go to editing, and let me see if I can. Let me see if I can do something here. Okay. So I'm going to go to my, here's my sales parts. Okay. How many listen, do I have? How many calendar days do I have? I have order dates, procure date, and ship date, right? So I will use order date and the ship dates. I will create a simple calendar table that has only one column. So I'll click on new table. I will click on new table, and I will call it calendar. Calendar equals to, I will say my new variable. We say my new variable, let me make it bigger, we can see it. I'll call my first variable minimum underscore date, and I will say that is equals to mean of my order dates in my fact table. I'll close that. I'll go to the second one. Variable max underscore date is equals to the max of what? Of the ship dates. So it can cover everything. And I will close my brackets, right? And the next thing I will do is to say return. I will say calendar, the minimum underscore date that I created, and the maximum underscore dates that I created, right? And I press enter. Oh, says you cannot use calculated table to reference direct link tables. This model includes the following calculated tables, which is not supported. Please remove the calculated table. Are you serious? This is not like in desktop. Wow. Wow. Okay. Let me add code the value then. Let me add code it. So no problem. Let me just put one random date there. 2024 0101. Right? And this one too will be date date of today. It's our current day. Oh, sorry. It's supposed to be just today. Okay. Let's see this time. Good. No issues now. Then I can connect these dates to my order dates. Connect this to my order dates, and I'll click on save. Right? Because of role-playing dimension, I can also connect it to my delivered date or even my procured dates. But it's going to be inactive for this one. And also do the same thing for my ship dates. Inactive. Yeah. Okay, I'm done making these changes. Right? I'm not saving to version history. Let me go back to my pipeline. Now, when I go to my pipeline, now in comparison with, this thing is not showing well. Let me refresh. In comparison with the production development stage, it will show me that there have been some changes. Right? So let me click on this. I don't know why it's not showing anything. It's supposed to show me here that, okay. Yeah, it's showing it now. Yeah. You see that it's telling me that my schematic model now is different from what I have from development, because development is the source of testing. So it's telling me that it's different. right? That it is different. So I can decide to just check only this one, the one that has identified that there's changes. I can decide to check everything, which I don't probably need to do that. And I can just check these two alone, the one that is identifying that there have been a change from the source workspace. And I'll just deploy only these two alone. I'll deploy it to testing and I'll click on deploy. And to deploy the changes that I've made in the original workspace, which is the architecture workspace, and I'll deploy only those two alone to this testing workspace. Only those two alone. And on this testing workspace now, people that have access to that workspace can come as business users to test and validate the model and everything. Whoever, it might even be the technical team, they would do the validation that everything is working correctly, everything looks good, and they will now deploy it now to production. So production is now the workspace that we are going to give to people to access, and people can view anything they want to view. So that's basically the concept of deployment pipeline. Now, where this gets interesting is that we are also going to do something this night. We are going to connect. We are going to create a, what's it called? We are going to be creating a repo inside of Azure DevOps, and we are going to connect that repo with, you see now, deployed. No, what you have on development is what you have on the testing also. So there's no difference. So you're seeing this green button, this green checkbox, like the white checkbox is everything looks good. Now, if you now compare, since you've already moved from development to testing, you also need to move it to production too. So from production to these two items too, after they've been tested, it looks good. You deploy them also to production. Now, let's go to Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps. I'm going to sign in this account on Azure DevOps. Sign in. I want to show us something. Yes, sign in this account. Okay. Let me use my authenticator to approve signing. Okay. Yeah. Let me show this again. Stay signed in. So I'm on my Azure DevOps now. So just like one of my videos I have on my YouTube, you can watch more on it to get the Azure DevOps stuff. So where am I? What am I doing here? I'm not coming to portal.azure. I want to go to Azure DevOps. So more services. I'll look for DevOps. Here's my Azure DevOps. So okay, let's go from. This is what I'm seeing on my screen. No. My eyes that is. Azure DevOps. I'm coming, guys. Let me click it from here. Please go to the Azure DevOps system straight off. Exactly. So I'll come here, I'll create the account, continue. Yes. Yeah, the next thing to tell me to do is to create an organization. It's like the container that holds, now everything will be in. Name my organization, yes. Then I go through this, whether I'm a human being or not. Click on continue. So it's creating Azure DevOps organization for me. Okay, signed in how many times today? God have mercy. So I'm going to create a new project, and I'll call the project sales, um, sales projects, right? Click on create projects. Okay. Now I'm going to click on repo, and I will initialize a with a git.ignore file. Okay, let me use readme file, and I will initialize. Initialize. Okay, so I'm on this now. So I'm gonna go back to my so while this is still deploying, I will go back to my workspace. Oh, successfully deployed. I'll go back to my workspace. It's still showing me something. I'll come back here later. So I'll go back to my workspace, the modern architecture workspace, the original workspace. I will go back there and I will integrate this with Git so that when I make any changes, it's going to integrate with that repo. So I'm going to go to settings, workspace settings, and I will go to Git integration. I'll click on Azure DevOps. It's my Entra account, and I'll click on connect. And it will ask me which organization do I want to, this organization, what projects, my sales project I just created, my sales projects, and my branch is the main branch, right? I don't have any Git folder. I will connect and sync. Oh, what's the problem? What is the problem? Yeah, main branch, yes, that's the default branch. Let me go to project settings and see. Is there something wrong here? Let me go to repositories. Is there any setting that is blocking? Let me switch off this one. Policies. Don't have any branch policy. Security. Security. Okay. So why is it not linking? Let me go back again and sync. The workspace is in the different region. Go to the workspace admin settings to enable cross region connections. Okay. I'm coming, guys. Hold on for me, please. You see some errors that you've not seen before. Hey, cross region. So hold on for me. Okay. Let's say something here. Not here. Um, exactly am I going to do this thing on? Okay, I'm gonna copy this error. Uh, don't know where I will see that section. So to do that cross region stuff. Um, okay. So it's because my workspace is in different region. That's why. Okay, this one is West US3. Oh, so maybe I can change it. And let me see if there's a way I can change it in Azure DevOps. Okay. Okay. So this is what I'll do. Let me create a new organization. And this one will be West 3. This one will be in the US. Okay. UVWD. So the cross region of thing is so my Power BI account is my Fabric account is in West 3. And my Azure DevOps account is I think my Azure DevOps organization is in Canada. So the cross region thing is causing problem. So let me call this project sales sales to sales to sales to repo. I'll create a new project, organization rather. Yeah, and I'll create a new project also. So I'll click on REPL. Okay, I will initialize a new one. So let me go back now to my Power BI, and I will refresh this page. Okay, so workspace settings now. I'll go back to Git integration. Is it my system that is slow network? Okay. Git integration, Azure DevOps, click on connect. Organization is this one. The project is this one. Repo is this one. Main branch. I pray it works this time. Yeah, connected. Good. So my Git status is now like I'm syncing my Azure DevOps with my. Oh, why am I doing this on production? Oh my God. Let me. This is a big mistake. Sorry, guys. I have to disconnect this. I did the wrong thing entirely. Integration logouts. No, logout. So I don't know how did I get here? Workspaces supposed to be here. So workspace settings, integration, Azure DevOps, connect, this organization, all projects, this Git repository, main branch, connect and sync. Exactly. Sync content from this workspace to Git. Sync content from Git to this workspace. No. Sync content from this workspace to Git. Sync. That will override whatever has been there before. Yeah. It's syncing now. So we'll now go back to that our deployment pipeline. Right? We are going to go back to that deployment pipeline and we are going to now. So you see that data flow Gen 2 is not even supported for that Git integration. So we'll go back to that deployment pipeline now. When we go back there, you would see the integration with Git, or it's not showing. Okay. So what we'll do is that, so I'm still loading something here. So what we'll do is that, while this is still loading, we have to wait a little for it to finish loading. Okay. The introduction is done. The test one is refreshing. Good. So what we'll now do is that, okay, we can't see the Git status at this stage, right? But everything looks like what is in the three stages, the three workspaces are the same, right? So what we'll now do here is that we'll check something out. So there's nothing to actually deploy because there's no changes at all from development compared to tests. Also from production to nothing to deploy because there's nothing coming, no changes from test. So let's go back to production. And as I always do, the best place to make any change is the semantic model. So I go back to the semantic model. But no, I know what I will do. I will just go and remove one particular link between these tables. Let me be fast because of our time. So I'll just go. I will remove the link between the other two dates. Yes. I also do this for this one. Right? Good. And I will go back to my deployment pipeline. I'll go back. I will refresh so that I can detect the changes that I have to that semantic model. Okay. So when I click on the test, it should show me that there's a, just hold on for a few seconds. It should show me that, So it's telling me that I've made changes to my semantic model, right? So I'll come to my semantic model and I'm going to deploy that changes to test, right? From development to test. Now, let's now see whether all the Git status that we have in the development, they are also going to move with the deployment to the test and the production, right? So let's see. I also move the semantic model from tests, right? Oh, it's just showing me now, safe. So I have to deploy is to test. When test is done, I will deploy it also to production. So we are now going to test before we go. We are going to now test whether and see whether as we are moving content within different layers, whether the Git status too from the original workspace is also moving together with, it's also moving together with the deployment. We are going to see now. Let's see. I'll wait for the production to detect changes. I'm sorry, this is due to my network. I don't know why it is this slow. Okay, so I'll come here also and deploy to production. Then I'll go and open the workspaces and we'll go and see whether the Git status is also moving with the. Okay, this one is let's just wait for a few seconds. Almost done, almost done, almost done. Few more seconds, few more seconds. Good. So they'll have the same contents, no difference between them. So let's now go to workspaces now. Let's go to workspaces. So I have the original workspace where I have the Git status. That one is there. So this is the source control. Okay, it's telling me to. Oh, this is the product. Why am I on the screen on this production now? I'm coming. Let me go to workspaces. I'll click on this again. Okay. So this one is showing that it's showing that because I made changes now, I have to come to the source control. I have to click it and I have to commit that change. So you can sync with the aha. Good. It's now syncing. Now let's go to the other workspaces and see what's going on there. So this is the test workspace. Let's see. Let's see. So we are in the text workspace, right? So what I see here is that the Git status is not actually moving. It's not moving with the deployments, right? From development to test, you see, right? Probably what we need to do is that probably we are going to create maybe two more branches. There will be one for test, one for production, so that we can have a central repo for all of these guys, right? Or we create three different projects. And in the project repo, we can have, so let's see how this works. So let me go back to the production tool. Let's see. You see that the dictators is not moving along. But if you go to the source control, if I go to source control, right, it's telling me to sync this with the main branch. So let's see what will happen. Let's go back to test, to the testing layer. Let's see. So if I say, okay, it's still. This one is not showing anything. I think it was because of what I happened the other time. That's why that one is showing like that. So let's see. Oh, somebody wants to join. So let's test something. So let's say coming. Yeah. Yeah. So now this is the conclusion. The what's it called? The deployment pipeline does not move the Git status, right? It doesn't move the Git status along from what you have from the uh development to test and production, right? So Git integration only works in the development workspace, the development layer is only when the Git integration usually works, right? Okay. So you are using the development workspace to track all the changes that you've made in Git, right? After you've been able to do that, then you deploy to your Fabric items to the test and the production workspace via the deployment pipeline. So that those ones will not show, they would not show the Git status, right? Even though you have the same content too, but it's the development one that you're using to track the changes, right? So that is that's it about deployment pipeline and Git integration with Azure DevOps. Any questions so far? Anybody, any question? Okay, if there are no questions for me, we can call it a night. I'll see you guys next week, Sunday, where we can dive into Fabric Warehouse. So I'm seeing you for the first time. Damilari.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. Where are you joining us
Yes,
from? Are you from Winnipeg?
yes, sir. I'm in Winnipeg.
Ah, this is the first time joining us.
Yes, this is my first